Russell Westbrook is officially done, and while plenty of people are celebrating everything he gave the game, Austin Rivers is taking aim at the way the media treated him. Some of the conversation has focused on LeBron James, especially because people believe Westbrook's time with the Lakers is where the public narrative around him really shifted. But Rivers isn't interested in making this mainly about LeBron. He wants people to look at journalists like Skip Bayless and the way they talked about Russell throughout his career. You remember when Westbrook was in Houston and Skip was calling him Russell Westbrook and constantly going after his game. Russell eventually moved to Washington, where he had a good season playing alongside Bradley Beal before landing with the Lakers. Once he got to Los Angeles, his role started changing, including coming off the bench and moving between different roles during his time there. After that, he joined the Clippers, then moved on to Denver and Sacramento, and now his playing career has officially come to an end. Today, though, there are a lot of people giving Westbrook his flowers and showing appreciation for what he did on the court. And that's exactly where Austin Rivers has something to say. Rivers specifically pointed to Skip's comments about Russell and called the video he made last night egregious. He didn't even want to play the clip, but his issue was that Skip was still talking about Westbrook in a negative way on the very same day Russell announced his retirement. So while everyone else is celebrating Westbrook, Rivers is questioning the way someone like Skip chose to speak about him at that exact moment. And that's the part of this story Austin Rivers wants people to hear.
Get this off my chest, right? I feel like it's my job. The game needs me just to provide a little bit of light, a little bit of positivity in this negative verse we call sports coverage. Right, my dog Russell Westbrook just retired. Right, first ballot Hall of Famer. First off, shout out to you, man. Congrats on your retirement, and just an unbelievable player and even a better person. Right, and I'm seeing everybody give him his flowers now, and I'm like, where that been at? Because y'all been talking crazy about him for years, belittling him, diminishing his ability and his greatness. And y'all don't just do it with Russell. Y'all do it with James Harden. You do it with Kevin Durant because he switched teams. LeBron James can never do enough. Y'all used to do it with Barkley Malone because they didn't win. The list goes on of guys, right? It goes on. And I ask, how do we create a positive sports culture for our athletes? It's not just basketball players, it's all athletes. Because social media is a superpower. Anybody just has the ability to just get on their phone and type something directly to you with zero accountability. And it creates this negative force around our athletes. Like, man, they're great with all the hate. Could you imagine how much greater these guys would be with more positivity around them? Sure, we need a little bit of hate for the chip on our shoulder, but damn. Like, man, and I'm not saying we can't be critiqued. I'm not saying we can't be ridiculed. Listen, to a certain degree, we're professional athletes. We get paid millions. It's part of the job. I get it. But whoa, it's constant, it's negative, it's all the time. And then we gotta wait till something negative happens, till somebody retires, or God forbid, something horrible happens to give them their flowers. Give them their flowers now, you're late. You're late. You know, it's funny, I'm walking the other day down the street, this lady asked me for a picture, and she ends up saying, oh, I grew up in Houston, and we used to watch that team you were on and all. You guys had great teams back then, da-da-da-da-da-da. We were season ticket holders, blah, 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 blah. But we're not fans of James Harden. He never brought us a ring. And I remember laughing it off and walking to my car, getting in the car and being like, whoa, like, damn. The gall, the audacity, the entitlement of this woman. But she stands for fans, right? You belittle. As if James wasn't an MVP, like he didn't have the whole city lit. The whole city turned up. We were contending, and no, we didn't win, but so much goes into winning. A great front office, a great ownership, great teammates, timing, luck, good health. This dude was bad. Scoring champ, like I said, MVP. He was so bad, he had guys guarding behind him. Ricky Rubio was behind him looking like me at prom dancing on something. Y'all gonna do this with Devin in Phoenix? You gonna do this with Donovan in Cleveland? The answer should be no, because these guys still pass the torch. These guys still put in work. They still shed blood, sweat, and tears for their city, man. There's so many greats. Winning is not everything. The ring culture is exhausting. I gotta make a different video about that. Just give flowers, man. Be more positive to guys. Don't wait.
There's a bigger conversation here about what Skip Bayless actually brings to these situations, especially when somebody like Russell Westbrook retires and Skip immediately has something negative to say. You can at least give Skip this much: he hasn't suddenly switched up his position on Russell just because Russell retired. He's been saying the same things for years, whether people agree with him or not. But at some point, people are going to look at that and say, is this really about basketball anymore, or is this about keeping himself in the conversation? Because you hear the same talking points over and over, like the whole clutch gene thing. And when somebody asks Skip what exactly the clutch gene is, he can't really give you a clear answer. That's part of why this goes beyond just what he says about Russell Westbrook. I don't think you can simply frame it as Skip doing this to a black athlete either, because we've seen him go after other people in similar ways. Years ago, Troy Aikman was another example, especially after Coach Prime called Skip out about what he had written in his book. Back then, Deion Sanders was still known as Prime Time, and he confronted Skip live on television. The issue was that Skip had written that Troy Aikman was homosexual, basically putting something out there that changed the way people viewed him. That kind of shock jock journalism is something we've seen from Skip for a long time. And now you're seeing that same style show up with people like LeBron and Russell Westbrook. That's really why Skip became the focus of this conversation for me, because there comes a point where it feels like it goes too far. At some point, you're not really talking about the actual game anymore. But here's the other side of it. This stuff clearly gets people talking. The fans of these athletes get angry with Skip, they go after Skip, they dislike Skip, and all of that still creates attention around him. So while people might hate what he's saying, it's also generating views and keeping that spotlight on him. And you can argue that maybe the spotlight shouldn't be that bright anymore, without pretending that Skip hasn't accomplished anything in journalism. The reality is, he's not really covering the game in the traditional sense, but people also want entertainment. That's what these networks have understood for years. People turn on these shows because they want to be entertained, and narratives like Russell Westbrook become part of that entertainment. But those narratives don't just disappear after the show ends. People can say it doesn't affect anything, but even if it doesn't directly affect what happens on the court, it can affect somebody's brand. Once something gets repeated enough, it's out there and it sticks. Social media makes that even more important because companies are watching the numbers, the engagement, and how much attention these conversations generate. If things like Russell Westbrook, Boss Spice, and all those other narratives keep sticking, then eventually that can start touching somebody's bottom line. That's where I think the conversation can become serious. It's not about pretending these people haven't already made a lot of money. It's about not wanting somebody else's commentary to diminish your brand when you should be allowed to control that yourself. If something is going to hurt your name, let it happen because of what you did, not because somebody else decided to create that narrative around you. Because when you're talking about a family name, a legacy, and everything connected to it, people are naturally going to take that seriously. At the same time, there's another side to the media cycle that people don't always acknowledge. Players can actually benefit from that same journalism and all the attention that comes with it. Look at Dame, for example, when he made the top 75. I'm not saying Dame isn't an exceptional basketball player, because obviously he is, but being included on a list like that while you're still playing can be influenced by the fact that you're part of the current basketball conversation. And that's something you'll probably see in every era. There are always going to be players who get included because they're performing in the moment when the list is being created. Wait another 100 years and you'll probably see that same thing happen again. So yeah, players can absolutely benefit from the media too. People talk all the time about how difficult these news cycles can be for athletes, and that part is real, but the media attention can also work as a tool for the players when they know how to use it. The media attention can actually benefit athletes too, because now there are more platforms and more people who can come out and defend you. Rich Paul pointed out that Michael Jordan never had to live through a 24-hour news cycle. And yeah, social media obviously makes today different. But you could also argue Jordan never had people around the clock defending him when those accusations were being made about his gambling and his father's death. And I'm not bringing that up to argue for Jordan or against LeBron. The point is that these things can work in completely different ways depending on how you use them. The same media cycle that can damage somebody can also create opportunities for people to push back and support them. That's why I'm curious what you guys think about Austin Rivers talking about giving people their flowers while they can still smell them. Russell can still smell his flowers, and I don't have a problem with players giving him that respect while he's still playing. You probably don't want to go too far with it, but recognizing somebody during their career is perfectly fine. But when it comes to somebody like Skip, what would you rather see? Would you rather the journalists who spent years saying negative things about Russell finally give him some love now, or would you rather they keep that same position and stay on that side like Skip has?